Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Construct 101. Today we are taking a look at the pathfinding behavior. Okay, let's get started. So, pathfinding sounds complicated, and I've never had a look at this before, so I am, to be honest, dreading trying to understand it. So, honestly, I have no idea what I'm in for, and if this takes a couple more episodes to get through, if I have to revisit this, then that's what I'll have to do. But we'll just take a look and see what we can muster up, or at least brush the surface of it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so block is loaded as usual. Behavior, add new behavior. And so last week was orbit, today is pathfinding. So pathfinding, find paths around obstacles and optionally move along them. Okay, cool. Add. Right, so we've got pathfinding behavior. Now, I'm going to just have a quick look at the help page as usual. Okay, so the pathfinding behavior uses a star pathfinding algorithm to efficiently find a short path around obstacles. It can either report the path as a list of nodes through expressions or automatically move the object along the determined path. For examples of how pathfinding works and is used, search for the pathfinding in the start page. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so pathfinding grid. Okay, so that's how detailed it is. I understand that. So the cell sizes, meaning this is where it's what it divides the path into, so it'll move down through here and so on. So you might have to increase the grid if you want it to be a little bit more precise. Okay, I understand. Okay, so this is all something that I've had a look at before, but there is a lot of options to this. Now, when I say I looked at this before, I haven't looked at it in Construct 3, but when I was using some other engines, playing around with stuff, I've looked at some articles about pathfinding and about how, the whole A-star algorithm and all that sort of thing. And honestly, over the top of my head, it gets very complicated. It's always easy to use a pre-built function or something for these types of things that someone's worked on. I mean, if you make it yourself, yes, you'll have full control over it, but when it comes to some of this more complicated stuff, you could spend years trying to perfect it and still not quite be there. So sometimes it is easier to go with things that are pre-built. And I mean, here we've got a whole engine with stuff that's done for us, and it's amazing. It really speeds up workflow and making games. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to make so many games this year. And so yeah, I definitely don't want to go any deeper into this than I have to. Okay, so cell size. The size of cells for pathfinding. Smaller sizes will use more CPU and the path will be more precise. Okay, cell border. Additional size to detect obstacles prevents paths very close to obstacles. Okay, so that's so objects don't get stuck, I assume. Solids. To use either solids or custom objects as obstacles. Okay. For movement, the maximum speed, acceleration, deceleration, rotate speed, rotate object diagonals, where paths are allowed to use diagonal directions. Okay, and enabled. Okay, let's give this a go. So how can we do this? What are we going to do? Okay, I'm just going to add, we're just going to look the background as usual. We've got pathfinding enabled, all that sort of stuff. Now, all we're going to do is add a sprite, and I'm just going to make it black, and I'm going to check it over here. Now, we're going to move blocky down here, this over here, and essentially what I would like to do is get blocky from there to here. I have no idea how to do this yet, so we'll have a look. So on touch, object blocky. This is just experimenting, guys, so we'll see. Blocky, pathfinding, no, path. Okay, add obstacle, even using custom obstacles. Okay, find path, start looking for a path to our destination, later on triggering unfound path. Okay, move along path. So first we have to find the path, I assume. There's also a whole lot of options here. Increase the path cost for traveling over an object to simulate rough terrain. So you could have two ways. So for example, what I've got here is I've got two ways. Let's say if I wanted to go here. Okay, let's add another object. And we're going to call this destination. Okay, let's make it red-ish. And we're going to make it tiny. And this is going to be our destination. Okay, so now I'm just gonna type it in, and we're just gonna call this I don't know, boulder or rock, might be easier, just something in the way. Okay, so technically I would have two ways to go, this way and this way. And if let's say I had something here that the path went through, like grass or swampland or something, just throwing around ideas, then the path cost would be higher. So if the cost is lower, I assume the object would go around the less costly way. Save some money. Okay, anyway, bad jokes aside, let's move on. Okay, so untouched blocky, we're gonna go, what did we have? Okay, so blocky, path again, path, find, where was it? Find path to, what did we call it? Our destination, destination.x, or, okay, we'll do this for now, and destination.y, okay? And then add another action, blocky, path, and we're gonna go move along path. So obviously it's going to take a little time to figure the path out. Move along path over here. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, it works. So we need to make this a solid. Otherwise blocky is just going to walk through it. So add new behavior. Okay, and like the instruction said, we need to make a solid. Now it should walk around, and which way it's going to pick, we'll see. I don't know why I'm having to click twice. Okay, that works. However, seems to be walking through stuff. Why is that? Okay, so we've got our border there. Blocky is also okay. So is it our cell size, cell border? Okay, let's try 10. I know that that's probably less efficient. It seems to be taking into consideration the center point of the character. However, it doesn't seem to take into consideration it's obviously a bounding box. So would if I change, so we've got solid and we've got, if I change them into physics objects, then that would obviously cause a collision. So, but then, well, let's see if I add physics to it. I'm just experimenting, guys. Again, this is just me trying to figure stuff out and learn a little bit more about how everything works. Okay, use collision polygon. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, now it's also got gravity, so we don't want that. So we need to set the world gravity to 0. So at the start of layout, set, okay, is that world gravity, physics, start of layout, set gravity. I'm sure it was here somewhere. Oh, you've got to set it on the object. Oh, that's right. So which one was, this one had physics. So gravity, yeah, set world gravity. You've got to set it on the object itself. So we're going to set it to 0. See what happens now. Okay, it's not falling. Step. Okay, so I also have to obviously set this to physics. Let's see what happens here, and we're gonna make it immovable. No, it ignores the physics when it's doing pathfinding. So let's take those out. Physics. Yeah, we don't want that anymore. Obviously, it's gotten rid of the events. So find path to destination. Okay, that's fine. So did we miss something here? Blocky. What do we have? What is it called again? Pathfinding. Generate region. Add obstacle. Clear cost. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so pathfinding. Add obstacle. Set enabled. Regenerate obstacle map. Regenerate region. Regenerate just a rectangular portion of the obstacle. Okay. Regenerate slow. Check every cell to derive the. Okay. Just add obstacle, add path cost. Okay, let's just try this and see what it does. Really? Start X. Okay, so let's say we start in the top corner, start X, start Y. And so it's what is our layout? I think it's, I'm just gonna check this. How big is our layout here? 640 by 960. Okay, let's give it a go. Add another action. Path. Set regenerate region, and we're just gonna go 640 by 960. So starting in the top left corner to the bottom right corner. Okay, gonna do that before and see what happens. So when I tap the first time, it doesn't do anything. So not completely sure why that's happening. So obviously it finds the path and it takes a little while. So for example, if I were going to put it here, let's say system, start of layout, and I was going to put in find path, okay, and then we just take this out because it obviously does something else than what I think it's doing. And now we tap, it's going to work straight away. So obviously you need to give it a little bit of time to figure out where it's going. So for example, here it's doing it on start of layout. So I guess the other option we could do as well is add another condition and do something like every not every tick, like seconds. Is there a thing? Seconds. Every tick. No, it's going to be down the bottom, isn't it? I'm sure there is compare time. Repeat. Where is it gone? Okay, I'm missing it right now, but for now we're just going to do every tick, and I'm sure that is very inefficient. Okay, wait a second, we're going to take that out, and we're just going to do every tick for now, but there is another option, and I'm just having trouble finding it right now. And it's something like every X seconds, and I'm not seeing it compared. Oh, there you go. It must have been missing because of me having that other condition on the start of layout condition there, and that wouldn't have been compatible. So that was my mistake. Okay, so let's just say every 1 second. It's going to be more efficient this way. We're just going to put that in there, take that out. Every 1 second, look for a path. Okay, so if he taps straight away, it's not going to do anything because it hasn't had time to find it yet. But now, after a little bit of time, after that 1 second, it's looked. Okay, so it's going to and now it's crashed into our obstacle. Okay, so I'm going to have to look a little bit deeper into this, because obviously what it's doing here is I could increase the cell size, I guess, and all that, but it's ignoring some behaviors in order to make the as far as I can tell. Or is this additional size to detect obstacles prevents paths very close to obstacles? Okay, so let's say, is this where I'm missing? If our blocky is 128 by 128, we're just going to divide it and say 64 on this one here. And why is it minus 1? I'm just going to try and put in 64, and we'll see what happens now. Okay, yeah, I think that is roughly how this is supposed to work. Okay, so if I make it a little bit smaller, it's kind of going to get a little bit too close. We're just going to take this away. We're going to take diagonals away and try and simplify the movement a little bit, okay? And now it's only moving X and Y. Is it? It kind of looked like it was sliding though, wasn't it? Didn't it? So diagonals. Whether paths are allowed to use diagonal directions. Okay. Rotate object enabled, that's fine. Okay. We'll take it back up to 64. And maybe what we want to do, just to make this look a little bit better, max speed 200, acceleration, let's just take this up to 10,000, deceleration to 0, and take this up to, like, I don't know, 300, make it a little bit faster. Let's see if that makes a difference. Give it a little bit of time to find the path. And now it's accelerating very slowly. What did I do? So deceleration needs to be high as well, I think. Okay, sorry, I think I messed that up there, so we should be good now. No? Enough. Okay. Got a bit confused there for a while. Is our blocky too big? Let's try and make blocky a little bit smaller. Okay, let's try and make blocky this size. And take this down to 32. Okay, let's step again. It should not really have a problem here looking for the path as far as I'm concerned. So I'm a little bit confused at why it's struggling there. So we're just gonna redo the diagonals and see if that helps. Okay, tap. It seems to be better, but it still seems to be kind of like slowing down at one point, almost like it's having trouble figuring out where to go, whereas I feel like it's already gone around that obstacle and it shouldn't really be worrying too much. And it doesn't seem to be going all the way to the center either. I'm not sure if that is expected. Yeah, it's always that little sticking point there. So yeah, let's try and give it a couple of obstacles. Do this and do this and see if Blocky can figure out where to go. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Very good. It works really well. Yeah. Obviously, there are optimizations to this, things you can do to make this look better. And I'm going to have a better look into this and try and see if I can figure out there is obviously a lot to this behavior, and I'm literally just brushing the surface of what's possible, and I'm trying to figure out things as I go, and I'm probably missing a lot. So this is going to require a revisit, like a couple of the other behaviors I've done. So most likely I'm just going to go through all this stuff first, and then I'm going to revisit these, try and learn a little bit more about them later or as I go, and then do a little bit more another video, a little bit more work and stuff. So yeah, it looks pretty capable, and again, never used this before, and I do have some ideas, like obviously it would be very cool to do a simplistic gauntlet style game where you have a hero in a dungeon and some enemies following, and I wonder how intensive that would be on the processor. I would love to give these things a try. There's so many possibilities with this. Adventure games, finding your way around things, having the character walk around the table or something, like old school games like Sam and Max Day of the Tentacle, Monkey Island. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Maybe it sparked a desire to have a look at this yourself, and maybe you were fearing to have a look at the pathfinding behavior, and maybe seeing me play with it makes you feel like, oh, that doesn't look as bad as I thought, or maybe you think it looks worse, or maybe harder than you thought. We'll see. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in another Construct 101.